is Rachel, and today I'm bringing you my February reading guide. So first up, let's start with the challenges for the year. The Golden Girls Reading Challenge for this month is to read a book with an author who has the same initials as you. And I know this is really challenging. As I said in the announcement video for the Golden Girls Reading Challenge, you can just pick one initial if that works. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just going to go with somebody who has the last name that starts with an F. But if you need help with this, please just let me know down below or message me on Instagram and I will try to help you find one. I'm more than happy to do that. So I feel like I can't really give any recommendations because everybody has different initials. So I'm just again going to say, please let me know if you need some assistance with this one. Next up is the buzzword of the month, and for this it is a book with a pronoun in the title, so I have several options. First up is Please Don't Sit on My Bed in Your Outside Clothes by Phoebe Robinson. This was my favorite book of 2021 and I highly recommend it. This would also work for another challenge if you are doing the Read Harder challenge that I'll mention in a minute. That would be absolutely perfect read. It's a nonfiction essay collection and she's just a hoot because she's originally a comic and so funny. You could also read You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This is a contemporary about a girl who is running for prom queen to get a scholarship and she ends up falling in love with the competition. And there's also You Can't Touch My Hair by Phoebe Robinson. As I mentioned just a minute ago, she's fantastic, so if you're looking for one similar, if you need another Phoebe Robinson, that was her first one. And I would also recommend I'm Judging You by Lovey Ajayi. It's in this very same vein as Phoebe Robinson. It's a fresh take on just culture through essays. Fantastic. We read that with my book club this year. Another one that I would recommend is Brain on Fire, My Month of Madness, and this was fantastic. This is terrifying though. It's a nonfiction account of our author getting an infection in her brain that literally causes her to have a month of madness. She's spending a lot of time in the hospital. She has to relearn to read and write. It's just completely terrifying, the journey that she goes on. I would highly recommend it. It was fascinating. Another one is a graphic novel called My Friend Dahmer by Durf Backdurf. This is an account of the author actually going to school with Jeffrey Dahmer when he was a teenager, so it's the years that lead up to his crimes. And the last one that I'm going to recommend for you is I Love You More Than My Phone by Dante Fabero, and this book is just fantastic. It follows Slothilda and Peanut, and I love Peanut. I love Slothilda. I actually have her little stickers on my phone so I can send those as reactions to people. I absolutely love Slothilda. So if you're looking for a short comic, definitely head for this one. So that should cover you for the buzzword. The Read Harder challenge isn't really set to each specific month, but I'm going to try to tackle 2 every month. So the 2 I picked this month were the next 2. The first one is to read a book from the Women's Prize. It did not specify really that it had to be this year, so I just took that as it could be any year. So my first suggestion would be Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. I technically haven't read this book yet, but I'm dying to because I kind of stumbled upon the show. I think it was on Netflix, and it was fantastic. It involves a young girl who's an immigrant from Ireland, I think, and she gets a job working for this family, and then one of the family members ends up dead, and now she is in jail, and the whole story is kind of being told to us by the therapist, the doctor, the psychologist, whatever he is, that is interviewing her from jail. Very good. Another one I would recommend is Bel Canto by Ann Patchett. I haven't read this in a while, but I did read it for a class in college, and it just really stuck with me. It follows these people at a swanky party somewhere in South America, and a group of terrorists come in and kind of hold them all hostage, and you're following the interactions between the terrorists and the hostages, and you get to explore a little bit of what could be perceived as Stockholm Syndrome. So very interesting. I feel like we had a lot to talk about in my class for this one, and I would be more than happy to reread this one pretty soon. So definitely a recommendation. I would also highly recommend Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. This is the story of a woman who was sentenced to die by execution, but they're not holding her in jail. I think it's because she's a woman, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe that's just how they do it. I don't remember exactly why. They either aren't holding people in jail until they die, or it's because she's a woman that they're not really worried that she's going to run. But she's placed with a family while she's on death row. And she's expected to work for that family and help them on their farm while she is awaiting her execution. And you get to know her more obviously throughout the book, and you get to hear a lot more of the story of how she ended up in this situation, of who has died and how that death came about. And oh, it's so atmospheric, it's so fantastic, it's so heartbreaking. It was so good, so good. I would highly recommend the audiobook for this one as well, because I believe it takes place in Iceland. I think it takes place in Iceland, so there's a lot of more Icelandic words and slang words that it's better to hear. And then I would also suggest My Sister, the Serial Killer. This is the one that I think I'll be reading for this challenge, and this is about a girl who has a sister who is a serial killer, as the name implies. I believe it's a series of boyfriends that the sister has, and our main character helps her kind of clean these up and kind of overlooks it because she is her sister. And I think then the serial killer sister sets her eyes on somebody that our main character has a crush on. So that's obviously a little problematic. The other two that I know are like huge titles are Piranesi and The Vanishing Half. Both of those are an option for me as well. I am just not sure. Piranesi is, I think, just kind of a really strange book about this strange house. And it's won a lot of awards. It's gotten a lot of hype. So that could be a good pick. And same for The Vanishing Half. A lot of awards, a lot of accolades. This is about a story of two girls. They might even be twins that are black but can pass. And one of them leaves their little town and another one marries a very dark-skinned black man. And we get to see how their choices kind of unfold and relate to their lives. Again, I've heard amazing things. So both of those are kind of options for me too, but I will probably read My Sister, the Serial Killer, because that just sounds fantastic. The other Read Harder challenge I'm going to tackle this month is to read a book about a POC that is not focused on trauma. So most of the ones that I made in the pronouns section could work for that as well. Please don't sit on my bed in your outside clothes. You Should See Me in a Crown and I'm Judging You would all work for this challenge, as well as To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. If you haven't read it, that's a story of a teenage girl who writes love letters to like end her crushes. She keeps them all in a hat box, and in a moment of revenge, her younger sister mails them all out to the boys, and drama ensues. Another one you should check out if you're looking for a graphic novel is the Miss Marvel series. This is fantastic. I love our main character, Kamala Khan. And obviously there's a little bit of like trauma involved, but it's all like superhero related. And it's not necessarily because she is who she is. Well, unless you consider being a superhero that, but you get what I'm saying. Another one that I would highly recommend is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. This one is fantastic. We follow our main character who is kind of left out of the loop of an arranged marriage. Her parents and Rishi's parents have joined forces together to send Rishi to meet her and kind of win her over before they tell her they've set up this arranged marriage. It's really, really cute. Really like that book. Another one you should consider is A Deadly Inside Scoop by Abby Collette. This is the first in the ice cream parlor mystery series where our main character, she leaves the chaos of the big city and the fast-paced professional world and comes home to open an ice cream parlor. And literally leading up to the opening of the ice cream parlor, she stumbles over a dead body and, you know, cozy mysteryness ensues. And lastly, another cozy mystery that you should check out is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia Peven and Sala. This was fantastic. It's another cozy. This time, our main character, her family runs a restaurant, and this really mean food critic comes in and ends up dying from poison while he's eating in their restaurant. So obviously they're the suspects and they have to try to figure out who really did it to get themselves out of trouble. So all of those would be fantastic recommendations for the challenges for this month. Next up, I have some book clubs to mention. My own personal book club is going to be reading Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, and I'm super excited. I've heard fantastic things about this nonfiction pick, and I think it's going to be perfect for February, which obviously is Black History Month. The Cozy Mystery Club here on BookTube is going to be reading Cake and Punishment. True Crime Book Club is going to be reading Don't Call It a Cult. Stacks of Strange is going to be reading The Hollow Place. And the Out of the Coffin Read-Along Club is going to be reading the second book in the Sookie Stackhouse series, which is Living Dead in Dallas. And finally, the Literally Dead Club is going to be reading Razor Blade Tears. So I'll leave links to all those book clubs down below, as well as those challenges if you'd like to join. Next up, let's talk about some new releases. So first up, we have a huge list of books coming out on February 1st. First up, we have The Violin Conspiracy. I believe this is kind of a mystery set around this very expensive classic violin. We also have A Lullaby for Witches, which I believe is a historical fiction book that follows the possibility of a witch in a creepy house, creepy woods. We also have Volume 2 of Lore Olympus coming out. We have I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. I love her, so I'm really excited about this. This one I think is set in the 80s in Romania. Then we also have The Hiking Viking, which is an adorable looking picture book. We have The New Girl, which is, I believe, a young adult thriller. We have Horror Hotel, which I'm hoping to read very soon, which is a YA horror novel about some ghost hunters staying in a creepy hotel. And we have Homicide and Hollow Hollow. This is the sequel to Arsenic and Adobo, which I just mentioned earlier. All of those are coming out February 1st. Then on February 8th, we have How to Host a Viking Funeral. And I believe this is a nonfiction account of moving on from your past regrets and kind of starting anew. I just really caught on to that title. Next up then on February 15th, we have Bitter by Akweke Emizi. This is a prequel to the novel Pet, which was astounding. So we're going to get the mother's story. She was the original artist of the painting where Pet came out of, so we're going to get her story. We also get The Ice Cream Machine by Adam Rubin. He is the writer of, probably most famously with my students, Dragons Love Tacos. I have no idea what this is about, but I believe this is going to be a middle grade book instead of a picture book, so I'm super, super excited for this one. I think it's actually short stories, which would be even better. This will be a great way to get some of these young readers to jump into a chapter book, because they already know who Adam Rubin is, and they already love him. And then lastly, I have 3 on February 22nd that are coming out. First one is The Paris Apartment. I believe this is going to be a adult mystery about a girl who is having some trouble, so she goes to visit and stay with her brother in his Paris apartment, but when she gets there, he is not there. So then, you know, mystery ensues. We also have a new cookbook from Half Baked Harvest called Every Day that I'm super excited for. And lastly, we have You Are Radically Loved, and this is just about like positivity towards yourself, kind of changing the way you think about things and finding self-love. All of these books would sound amazing, so mark them on your calendar if they sound good to you as well. And just a reminder that February is Black History Month, so definitely keep that in mind as you're selecting your books. And yeah, I hope you have a fantastic reading month. Let me know down in the comments below what you are planning to read, and if any of these suggestions have swayed you to read them. I always love to hear that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.